Mics are on. We all make sure all mics are on. And we are using piloting a new system for closed caption. So, yeah, speech to text, and that said, it's important that we're not all speaking at the same time.
Okay.
That makes it challenging, which I don't know that that's been an issue with this board, but just something to think about. And so, we'll check after conclusion of this meeting. Hopefully it's
Worked out okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Welcome. How's it going?
Great.
Good.
Excellent. Thank you for being here. So I think you have some updates for us. And Jocelyn, were you going to talk a little bit about the position that you're going to be in through Unite and through the different organization that I have a slide that's going to be sharing. Betty Church made a good news. You are in a leadership role.
For
Like
CACA?
which role?
Yes.
For CACA? Oh,
For
okay.
CACA, yes,
Yes.
because we haven't seen you since. I think that decision was made. I know there's a list of students from across the country
Yeah.
represented. You're one of them. So if you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah. When we start, do you want me to start or do you want to?
I think we're ready. And then you're going to share a little bit about FBLA. We have a little bit of context, but that'd be great if you could share with that, as well as anything else you want to share with us. Okay, Jocelyn, go
I
ahead.
have updates, but I'll start with the CACA. So I think I brought it up before. CACA is the national level for youth prevention. So there's people all over the US and the neighboring territories that come together for a conference that holds about 4,000 people. It's called CACA Mid-Year. That's going to be this summer in Florida. And we actually have the money for a few of our youth to go. But I am actually on the National Youth Council, so the NYC. And I am one of 12 youth across the US to be part of this. And there was, I think, over 1,500 applications. So I got really lucky and I'm really excited and happy about it. We have program meetings once a month. So we talk about how we could benefit prevention on a larger scale of what we see in our communities. So for us, we live in a rural area, small area, the things that we see, like our local stores, things like that is what I get to bring. But I also get to hear about the bigger cities and the things other people do. So it's really cool. And it's really informational to be able to be part of this wonderful council. But because we're going this summer to Florida, I get to be on a panel, the only youth from the council to be on the panel. So that's going to be pretty awesome. And I'm really excited to be able to do that. It's about an hour-and-a-half session, and everybody in the room, all 4,000 participants, get to ask me questions and a bunch of cool things about our community. And so I'm hoping to bring a little love to Washougal to them. Hey, from a small town in Washington. So it's going to be pretty awesome. So yeah, that is that. Some updates. We did Elevate Middle School. That was the week before last. And we had middle schoolers from all over about this region come out. We had a lot of JMS people or youth students that do Club Unite and participate after school. So that was really awesome. I got to see, I don't go to Club Unite very often. It's not my program, but I got to see a lot of the youth that do go, and they got excited to see some of the fellow people I work with on my team from prevention. And we had Fort Worden, which was they spoke of it as somewhat of a camp, but it was through the DOH, and we got to participate in presenting about the substance use campaigns that we do in the school, the ones we did previously in the high school. And we got to interact with a lot of middle schoolers and high schoolers from up towards the Fort Worden area. So they were able to come out. It was like a weekend field trip for them, and that was really awesome to be able to participate in. Upcoming this weekend, the 15th to the 17th, we have Orcas Island, which is a Moment of Youth Prevention Summit. We did this last year in Locust Island. This year it's in Orcas, and it's more of this campground setting. So we're giving presentations, we're doing some team bonding. These are kids who haven't worked in prevention before or just barely started to work in prevention. So we get to teach them about a lot of things that we see and the ways that we benefit our community by the terminology and the PCN and everything that we do. And then as soon as we get back, the following day, we leave for Spring Youth Forum, which is another DOH hosted event, which is a competitive competition, which Unite has participated in and won 2 years before. So it's a highly competitive competition, and we get to all go in and talk about prevention and all things that we get to do in our community. So definitely more community based than other things that we've worked on before. And I think that's it. And I was confused with what you were saying. I'm going to be interning with Unite next year. Before I'm going to be finishing some studying before I take off for my 5-year college in Oregon. So I get to work with Unite a little bit longer for another year, and I get to do some internship. It's gonna be paid, which is really awesome. And then when I leave, I have another internship lined up in Oregon State. So pretty awesome. But
So that's where you're going to school next year?
next year,
Oregon State?
I have an internship through Oregon State we did, sorry, let me go back a little bit. Me and two of my teammates were three of the people that helped form the very first Oregon State youth prevention event at all. And through that, we worked with the people who do prevention in Oregon State, and they offered me an internship that pays close to 6 figures straight out of high school, which was pretty awesome. They paid for me to have housing for 3 days, 3 days out of the week, and I go for an internship and I get to work with the policy making behind prevention in Oregon State specifically while I'm going for my major in ASL and then my minor in prevention. So
Wow.
awesome.
You're busy.
So before we go, Jacob, so these meetings are monthly. When do they start? With that role is with the other students across the country, like you do, those are once a month?
They are once a month. We started 2 months ago.
Okay.
So their official blog put out a page to have all of our pictures on it, and they get to talk about like the rundown of what we do. So we have those, yes, once a month. It's the third week of every month.
Fantastic. Hi.
I don't have anything quite as much or quite as exciting, I suppose. FBLA took 8 people to state in April. We had 2 people make it to the final round, Maddie Brock, who placed 8th in public service announcement, and Liberty Andelman, who I believe placed 2nd in future business educator, which means that she made it to the nationals, which this year is in San Antonio, Texas. So super exciting for her. We managed to find out a way for her to go because we don't have an advisor that can go with her because all of our advisors are busy. So she's going with Hawkinson, who has, I think they have like 5 or 6 people that qualified. So she's with a pretty good group there. And she gets to go, which is super exciting. And that is June 28th to July 2nd, I believe. So a little bit into the summer. Which I don't know how long these board meetings extend, but I assume that they're probably not that far into the summer. So hopefully I'm sure there'll be some email correspondence at least Erin, so that you guys can of course find out how she plays there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's super exciting. It's the first time that someone from Washougal's made it since I think 2018 or 2019. So it's been quite the run. Just speaking a little bit more on FBLA at the high school. We're kind of at a bit of a precipice right now because our membership is basically entirely juniors. We have 14 active members. 11 of those active members are junior, or 10 of them are juniors. 2 of them are seniors. So we have 2 members, one of which it will be in Germany for foreign exchange next year. So we have 1 member once all of us juniors graduate next year. So if you guys know any kids who are going to be in 8th grade this year or going into their freshman year this year, tell them to join FBLA. We're great. We have a lot of fun. And if they have more questions, you could give them my email. I'll be sure to respond to them. Besides,
You've met the middle school reps we had, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I can think of it.
You read
yeah. So we actually reach out to at Canyon because I have more connections to Canyon because that's where I went.
Yeah.
I actually spoke directly with teachers for names of students, but then for Jeff DeGard, we talked to Mr. Cook to get student recommendations, and then we email them and we try to track them down at the beginning of the year. But part of it is based off of their want to actually be in FBLA.
Yeah.
But this year we're hoping, well, we have quite a few exciting initiatives hopefully for next year for FBLA. But our big one is that we're going to try to be at more actual events. So we're going to be at freshman orientation. We're going to be at football games with a booth to try to get more kids to join. At least that's the hope. I mean, maybe ASB might not let us do that, but I don't see why not. So the hope is that we will be at more stuff, we'll be more visible, and we'll be able to get more members. So keep an eye out for us. Hopefully we'll have some fun activities to do at our booth, even for you adults.
So what about freshmen right now? Could they still join?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
if maybe they weren't interested at first and then they saw
Yeah.
how awesome you guys are doing and
Yeah.
how fun it is, and maybe we could get more.
So we have some people join partway through the year.
Yeah.
It's a lot of kids are discouraged because they'll come in usually like right at the end of first semester. So they'll come in like December, January,
Mhm.
and they'll realize, oh, well, you guys already had fall conference and it's silly for me to register for regionals. So what's the point of me being here? And then they kind of just come to a couple meetings and they leave.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to figure out a way to make kids retain it and maybe just join in our committees. And part of that is our hope that we'll do more community service, which ties into some of the stuff that we're planning to get going next year.
Yeah.
And that way there's more reason to join than just compete. And then hopefully there'll be a better retention of students that maybe, even students that just maybe want to join FBLA for the perks without actually competing.
Yeah.
So they'll have more benefits to try to get them to come, even if they're, scared to compete.
Yeah.
or just don't want to. But yeah,
Who's your advisor?
we have 3 advisors. We have Miss Ruff, who is this career counselor, Miss Simek, who I think we're actually both going to talk about later. And she teaches personal finance and social media marketing. And then Natalie Hendrick, who is the yearbook teacher and the digital photo teacher. Yep. And then obviously, and then we also have Ms. Rice, who's absolutely amazing and helping us a lot. So that's our lineup. Very great, very helpful people.
Okay, so you're recruiting for more FBLA
Yep.
students for next year. And maybe I think you're thinking about something.
I've got a few people in mind.
Yeah.
If you want, send me, yeah, if you guys have any names, send them my way.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to see them.
I feel like you would be a good recruiter.
Do you think that next year we could plan like this year where we went to Olympia and the day on the hill?
I plan on doing that again next year. I hope next year is that maybe we take less kids and speak with more people.
Okay.
Because for example, Representative Orcutt is just up the 5 from us. And so he's still in our district as far as Senator Harrison goes. And so even though he's not our exact legislative representative, he represents us on the more regional level.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's big, is kind of helping out all the people around us, because a lot of schools from around here don't send students either because they can't fit their budget or they don't know about the opportunities.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's kind of our job to kind of help represent them too, as well as ourselves.
Great. So fewer students, maybe leave earlier.
Yep.
So we get up there with plenty of time and then schedule more meetings.
Yep.
Identify who the representatives that we want to meet with.
Huh?
So we'll identify the representatives we want to meet with. I think we can start that sooner than later.
Yeah, I plan on
So-
starting it like right at the beginning of next year.
Yeah.
That's my hope. That way it's all planned out by maybe even November.
Yeah.
That way there's plenty of time for kids to swap out if they really want to. Because that's something that we ran into this year, is we had, I think, almost like 3 or 4 people like last minute drop or just not even show up. And so that kind of sucks when that happens. And so hopefully if we try to finalize everyone sooner, the people that do drop, maybe we can replace. But this next year, I plan on bringing quite a few less people. So yeah.
Yeah. I think you'll be interested in going again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
I was gonna ask, do you guys have any events locally, or they're all kind of?
For FBLA.
Yeah.
Well, regionals is at Lower Columbia College, so that's over in, is that Longview?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's like the closest thing that we really have. Other than like, I mean, our chapter has we have like beach cleanup days and stuff. That's what we do for a lot of our community services. We clean up Cottonwood. So we have those events. But really outside of that, and then our family nights at like K&M, that's about all for this area.
I want a good K&M night.
Because we've discussed trying to get our representatives to come to events, and so if you had an event that you were hosting, we could also invite them to come.
Well, so
And have we're looking for town hall opportunities as
Yeah.
well, so we could
we can look at that.
marry some of those interests.
Idea.
And ambassadors also have a prevention day that we've done for the past 3 years, that there are representatives that come out to speak to our youth. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could also.
It's a great opportunity, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that's it for FBLA. And then I have kind of 2 other things. Not quite as exciting as being on the national council, but I was selected to go to DC for I just forgot the name of it. Next Gen Roundtable, which is basically I think it's 20 or 30 people get selected from across the country. So quite a few people applying. I think it's like a couple thousand. And they go to DC and they basically, it's gonna sound really boring. We sit in a conference room and we talk about the policy decisions that our lawmakers are making, and we give them our opinion. And everyone is in the age range where they're turning 18 at some point this year before the midterm. And so it's a great opportunity for youth to kind of share their opinion and voice. And so I got selected to do that, to represent Washington. And so that is July 8th through the 11th, I believe.
So is that through your position with the city, or was it something completely separate that you?
I just got an email about it. I know at least 3 of my friends also got emails about it, but as far as I know, I'm the only one from Washougal that applied, based off of my conversation with this rep. So, but yeah, I know at least one other person not in our school district that applied, and he didn't make it. So maybe I'm cool. Maybe I just got lucky. I don't really know.
Jacob, you're cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
We'll go with cool.
I'm gonna say you're cool.
And then lastly, it was my birthday yesterday.
Oh, my
Aw,
gosh.
happy belated.
Yeah.
So I'm 18 now. It's very exciting. I can vote.
That's exciting.
For me, as a political nerd, I'm very excited about it. I can't wait to vote. But yeah, that's all I have for updates.
Great.
Cute.
Jocelyn, anything else?
That has to do with updates.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was up separate? I did forget one thing. So I brought this up last month, which was our prevention, our PCN presentations that we're starting for the middle school. We just did a focus group at Club Unite last week, and we got feedback from about 10 to 15 middle schoolers about how our 10 to 12 posters looked and what they liked, what they didn't like. So we're gonna be going into the process of making changes coming this week and next week while we're on one of our trips. And that's gonna start going up at the start of next year. So when it reminded me when we talk about recruitment, we're also gonna start doing recruitment in the middle school for ambassadors because we have our advisors work in the middle school. So it makes sense for us to be able to have the program as ambassadors of the high school, but also start bridging that into the middle schoolers. So we're gonna start working on that as well with our PCN campaign for the middle schools. So,
Great.
yeah.
Who's the staff member who supports the ambassadors?
Our faculty, like our advisors, we have Xander Cook, which is our youth advisor, and then we have Betty Gable, Margaret McCarthy, and she was more tonight. Yeah, so those are our ambassador
Okay.
advisors.
Yep, great.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share?
No, but we have our
Oh,
they know about the question that you asked us,
the critical thinking.
the critical
I
thinking
don't
question.
think so.
Okay. He asked us to share with you teachers' implementations of like specifically them attempting to try to implement critical thinking into their curriculum in the classroom. You want to go first? Or you go first? Okay. I have two examples, and one of them kind of overlaps with Jocelyn. That's why I have a second one. The first one is Miss Simic. I have her for social media marketing, and the way that she kind of sets up her class and the way that she instructs it is it's very much like here's kind of like your rubric, like what I need to get from you in order to get a 4, and here's your instructions on how to get there. And then it's really up to you to kind of think about like what the materials is that she's giving you and what you need to do to get the assignment done. You have to really think about it yourself. And then obviously she's going to be there to help you, but you kind of have to like use the thinking skills that you already have to actually come up with the questions. Instead of her just coming over and being like, oh, you don't know how to do that, and then just telling you how to do it. You have to ask her questions to get the answer, which is super great. And then kind of similarly, Mr. Carver's class is very similarly set up where you really have to like right now we're doing our junior projects, and he posts 14 assignments, and you can do it at your own pace, and you have like 3 weeks to do it. And so like I'm already almost halfway done, and then other kids are not started yet. And so for that class, especially at this time of year, it's really up to you to go up to him and ask him the questions and think about what you need help with, instead of him going around and monitoring everyone's progress and really staying on you about it, right? Because it's self-paced.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're one of those kids who hasn't done anything, he comes over and he tells you get to work. But
Right.
yeah, so those are my 2 examples.
I have 2 free periods, or I have a free period and I'm a TA for another period, which were the special education students at our school, at the high school. So that's pretty awesome. So I wouldn't necessarily those have anything to do with critical thinking specifically. So mine that overlapped with Jake was Miss Simic. I have her for social media marketing, but I also have her for personal finance. And I have brought her up before when we had conversations about AI and how she asks us to use this resource. And she says, like, I want you to use it as a tool. And I think one of the other points I wanted to bring up that he was talking about the rubric is that she'll say that like her grading style is she's lazy, she doesn't want to grade. But I think it's so much more than that because she really just gives you everything that you need. She'll be at a playground with her kids filming a video to help you learn the instructions on what you're supposed to be doing. So I think that she's just one of those teachers that really has your best interest at heart, and it shows through in the work that she does and the way that she grades and all of the material. But going back to like the critical thinking part of it, she'll say like this part of the curriculum I don't think is going to be beneficial. So it's going to be a small part of your AO, but this part I've used multiple times in my life. These are examples of times that I've used them. So this is why I think this is more important. I'm going to give you real life examples of things that have happened to me, things that have happened to people in my life to help you figure them out, especially in a class like personal finance, where it's a majority you're learning about things that you're going to encounter soon, especially as a senior. I think that the way that she approaches teaching and the way that she guides you in any of her classes that she's had, and I've had her since freshman year, I think that she's just an excellent teacher and getting people prepared for their life at any stage, whether that be a freshman barely getting into high school or a senior getting ready to start and go into the world. So yeah.
Did I say that this morning or was it yesterday?
I believe that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you for following up on that. And so we had a leadership meeting yesterday and we talked about critical thinking. And I had a meeting with Chuck Carpenter last week, who brought up and was asking for like some specific examples of how we are implementing or intentionally applying critical thinking experiences for our students.
Yeah.
And so I think the example I gave was the building thinking classroom. So the lesson studies that we participated in, I think for math is a way that we are providing students with opportunities to share their thinking with structure.
Yeah.
And allowing them to explore a task, like a really rich task, without just giving them like, all the answers.
Yeah.
And say, mimic what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like Ms. Simic also does something that's like that, provides opportunities for you, resources, guides, and really relies on you to come to her, as well as Mr. Carver, who's been teaching probably
34 years, I think.
34 or 35 years and teaching the same junior and senior English, and that junior project looks probably very similar to the way it did years ago, but he's created a way to, and I think incorporated technology, understanding that, and as continuing to be a learner himself. It sounds like for you, it's effective.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Great.
He was my junior teacher.
There we go.
It's been around.
He was young then.
Okay, great. Any questions for our student reps?
You guys are busy.
you.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys are
thanks.
amazing. I love your updates.
You are so busy. Yes, thank you. And Jacob shared that he,
For both of you, I really appreciate you presenting. It's impressive what you're doing, and you're saying you can't stand next to her with what you're doing. I can't either. And I have a pretty full life right now.
Just remember, Jacob, 4 Fridays.
and you're gonna continue with the city in your role as a student rep, the city council.
Yeah.
And you're continuing with us next year in the same role. Yes.
Good.
Absolutely.
So we'll look forward to hearing your experience in July, and somehow maybe you can come back.
Okay.
Because you're gonna be in the area as you're doing your
For another
internship.
year, yeah.
Yeah, great.
Keep us updated.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Give us your mics.
No, I didn't have this one.
Thanks. I would think that maybe senior year we watched it with us.
Yes, we'll do that.
Right? I
Yeah.
think that'd be great. Great opportunity. And it's,
Yeah, we'll bring that up as soon as we get those dates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good idea. Okay, next up we have our board and superintendent update. Would anybody want to go first tonight? Anybody?
I'll go first. I don't. Okay.
Thank you.
Um,
Bad, I need to go first sometimes probably.
I don't have much. I just wanted to thank the boosters. I know, like my son went on a field trip. They fund a lot of field trips for our kids. And they do a lot of work for school. So I just want to, I know we recognize them in the past, but just thank you to those folks who volunteer their time to do the fundraisers and all that stuff. So thanks. That's it.
Go.
Sure, I get 2 things. The first is for, at least up at Cape, Reed Northwest last week is this week. And then at some of the other schools, it's coming to an end, and I never miss a time for a shameless plug of that program's gonna be happening again next year. You should sign up. It's awesome. Usually you get to stay with the same kiddo all the way from kindergarten through 3rd and really get to watch how impactful it can be to spend that time with them. Even if you can just volunteer as one of the subs, it's a wonderful, wonderful program. And then the second is on a little less positive note, but I've seen some posts online lately about buses not pulling over and letting people pass, particularly up in my neck of the woods on River Road. And I just want to stress how dangerous that road is, and that our bus drivers' top priority is getting the kids safely where they need to be. And if that means that we as adults need to leave 10 minutes early so we can be ahead of the bus, or leave 20 minutes later so we can be behind the bus, it is not their job to make unsafe choices just because we're in a hurry. And there's other routes. You can head up Salmon Falls, you don't have to take River Road. But those bus drivers are out at like 6 in the morning because I see them on my walks with my dog. And then they're going all day with a bus full of kids, which I can only imagine
It's a lot.
what that is like. And so just have a little patience, build a little 5 extra minutes in your day, and they do pull over when they can. Do that for us. So
Yeah.
just a little community reminder. We can all be in 2 minutes late. It'll be okay.
And you're a reading buddy on Friday?
I am.
Yeah, and that's why, yeah.
Cause the
'cause
dates.
it's- Yep,
Yeah, cause I think some
Yes.
people are gonna go through like the
Yes.
middle of next week, but
Yeah.
for some of us, it's ending.
yeah. Thank
Sign
you.
up if you haven't done it, sign up.
And they're doing a wonderful lunch for the volunteers as well,
Mhm.
which is really sweet. I love that they do those for the volunteers as well, which is really neat. All right,
Fine, to have two things. First one is I want to, spring sports are coming to an end and they can't happen without volunteers. So I know a number of us have been in the middle schools and other schools, but I already signed up for tomorrow, the volunteer track meet, so they can host a home track meet. So it's just like, it's okay. Time you can still watch your kid while they're doing their sport. Look out the corner of your eye. Yeah. So only a couple weeks left. And then my second one is, and I feel like I keep pushing this button, I'm gonna do a one positive, one negative, just like you, Jane, is that I really want an AI policy in place before school starts. And I know it's not, we have drafts that all say draft in front of me and we've talked about them and I have scribble notes all over them, but you're not gonna get it right the first time. Let's just get something in the handbook. Let's get a note out to the parents, say you've been talking about it, you're thinking about it. Can and will change, but I would love, and I know when they have a couple more meetings before we adjourn, and budget is gonna be a big one that we gotta work on. So I'm looking at Schließ, so that should take priority, but I really would like to get that. Let's just get it out there. It's not gonna be right, but we can adjust it.
I hear you. I looked
Try it.
into, I even looked at Clark College to see if they were offering any community classes that I could sign up for, but.
Jane's just gonna teach us.
Just,
I'll hold the session.
yeah, glad to participate. And
We can rewrite, Jane will rewrite it during the session. No, let's just try it, right? Like just progress.
I have two items also. I didn't want to let it go past that I didn't mention Patty Wood, that I met with her. And somehow T-ball with my granddaughter kind of pushed it to the back burner. But but Patty Wood onboarding, that was wonderful. We spent time here at the district office and it has continues to be very helpful. So I wanted to mention that. And also a volunteer, just want to mention that the United States Postal Service put yellow bags in many of the area's mailboxes. And some of them, it was a volunteer program for them. They collected food and took it to the Washougal Post Office, and Canis also had the drive. And I volunteer on Mondays at the Treasure House, which is a Clark County Food Bank. And my working partner and I had the opportunity to go and collect the food. And I was very ill prepared. I thought, oh yeah, we're gonna go pick up a few bags of food. What do I know? We picked up 2,858 pounds of food in yellow. We had to move them 3 times because we're weighing everything too, It was impressive and remarkable. And I hope that Camas and Washougal are competing against each other. And that it just
Make a good competition.
kind of like the stuff the bus used to have.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I hope it just keeps increasing. So it was really nice to be a part of that. So.
Yeah, my neighborhood, I always see, we do that every year, and I do notice, Sunset Ridge, we all have little, like, oh, it's yellow bag time. And they've been doing it since I've lived in Sunset Ridge, I think for the last 5-6 years at least. And so everybody has their little bags out, but I always wondered, who picks that up? Like, is it our post office or?
Yeah,
So,
postal.
yeah, postal service, yeah.
Postal service there, they pick it up.
So
I
lots
have
of food.
pictures of, we were loading them in banana boxes and loading pallets. After 2 pallets full of banana boxes stuffed, I saw a watermelon box like you see in the grocery store, and I put it together, put it on a pallet. We filled 2 watermelon boxes to overflowing. And then the postal community called and said that they were going to have more the next day. That was Tuesday and I wasn't available, but
Amazing.
yeah,
Very cool.
it's fun.
I have a question actually on that note. I know that, and I think it's through the boosters, but it might be through another organization, that we have the backpack program for kids that face like food insecurity and it gets them through the school year. What happens to that over the summer?
So we have a group that does provide some additional food, and I think maybe there's some cards in there, gift cards, or identified for a specific store.
Mhm.
So that's another opportunity. But then as far as meals all throughout the summer, I don't think there's anything right now that's being advertised. I
Okay.
think there is a group that tries to provide meals. Sometimes it's at Hamlet Park, different locations. So as we hear what is planned, we can help push out that information.
Yeah.
So there are a number of organizations that do provide additional food. I just off the top of my head, I
One
don't
of
know
them
what
used
the
to come
picture-
out of Halfway, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, at different times.
Yeah, different times.
Yeah, through our FCRC.
Yeah.
And that's where the backpacks are associated with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I would just love to be kept informed and be able to help push that out. Because thinking about the fact that they get breakfast and lunch for free and then we're sitting home. and then
Absolutely.
All, then you go into the summer and all of that safety net is gone.
Yeah.
So what we can do there.
Right.
Sure. Take your time. I just wanted to talk about teacher appreciation last week. It was amazing how many teachers actually came in and thanked the boosters. Like you were saying, we have such an amazing group of boosters. Our teachers were in there just like so excited and so happy and how much they get spoiled and just thanking us. And they were like, what can we do for you? And I'm like, okay, that's kind of beside the point. But I just look and think of like how lucky we are with our group of teachers that we have at all of our schools. They're very much appreciated, and I hope they felt that last week. Of course, I'm going to have to plug the Stride one more time. I still need volunteers if anybody's open to standing out and maybe a little sprinkle. It's from 7:30 until probably 10:30-ish. I need some people just to be on the street to direct traffic. It should be fun. And yes, sports. We definitely need more volunteers. If you can. I know it's like piling on top of sport after sport, but I know at JMS we are really lacking help in track. So if anybody wants to come up with those last meets, we always could use more volunteers.
You don't even need to have any prior experience.
No.
No.
Just have to be approved through the district with a background check.
Takes 5 minutes to fill out.
Yes, it
Super.
does. So, thank you, everybody. All right, Aaron.
Okay, so before I get into the items that I have. So Jane, Ida, volunteers. You said boosters. So we are on June 9th for our June 9th board meeting at 4:00. We're inviting those that are partners of ours, volunteers,
Yeah.
to come in. And Chartwell is going to help us with promoting some snacks and just a time to thank those that are interested and are available to come in. And so just share our appreciation for all the individuals and groups, organizations that have supported us. And there are a lot of them. So boosters, different businesses in town, individuals who are reading buddies. So there's so many. ECA has mentors that tutor high school students. Unite has mainly that event. Club Unite is mainly volunteers.
Yeah.
That are coming in, working with our middle school students. Track meets, high school, middle school. So yeah, all of those individuals and their time really allows us to provide these opportunities for our students. So thanks for bringing that up. And we were pushing that out to as many volunteers as we can about the June 9th event.
I've been plugging it too.
Great.
All of our boosters.
Yep. So Read Northwest, thank you, Jane, for bringing it up. I'm a reading buddy. I've seen amazing growth with my reading buddy. And there's at times where I get to, if the other reading buddy's not there, I'll have 2 reading buddies from the same class. And so just really appreciate that we have that as an opportunity for our students who have identified who could use a little assistance with reading. It's so important for them to be able to read and then learn to read and then be able to, read to learn. And so that I'm seeing with my individual student this level of confidence that is just inspiring. And so appreciate that opportunity that I get to do that. Paul, as far as that guidance, it will be a part of an existing policy.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a form. It won't have draft on it. We talked yesterday with our principals that in August, we will go over with all of our staff that specific document we're working on. Where will we be introducing, and it's gonna be across different levels, the guidance, the code of conduct, and and it really aligns well with critical thinking. Like, where is that information coming
Critical
from?
and creative,
Is
right?
it true? And how do you know? So that's gonna be incorporated, and we were talking about it yesterday, at what grade do we start having these conversations? And I think it's gonna be fourth and fifth grade, possibly, as we have elementary principals present. Our library media specialists can help deliver that information, as they already do with media technology as a part of their roles in the library. So we're laying out, like, where is this gonna be happening? Other than like a boot camp at the beginning of the year, then where is it gonna be embedded in ongoing instruction and support? All of our learning standards truly have some aspect of critical thinking.
Yes.
Many of them will then also have, many of our teachers are working through, like, how are students using AI? And that, what that guidance establishes is, when is it appropriate in the class for you to do that? As we've seen with our lesson studies, we haven't seen any devices. So in math, it may not necessarily be something that's used consistently, but in other content areas it might be. So I am committing to you that it'll be a part of that as a form. And then we'll see with WASDA and what WASDA does with AI policy,
Right.
following the state's lead or statute that might be a part of the next session, legislative session. So you're seeing the same thing that I'm seeing is, I think, more discussions about what we need to be careful about, and what are the most effective ways to use AI, and maybe we're overdoing devices and screen time. And so I'm seeing a change in direction as far as amount of screen time that's happening.
I think we'll always keep saying critical and creative thinking, right? But, Jane and I talk about, and it's about, just because we sit next to each other.
Yeah.
But it's, you only get out of AI how good you are writing a query, right? And that's the
You're
critical
wrong, that's
thinking
right.
aspect of
Yeah.
it. So, and then for me, it's just like letting everyone know, like, we're talking about this, we're working on it, like, yes, okay, we have rules in place, and I would like to see a little bit of a forward thing. It could just be on the school district website or one of our newsletters, just said, hey, talked about it, there are rules in place. That's it.
That could be a part of this week's community newsletter. We can have a portion that's
Just
dedicated to.
We got, quickly, you can take a couple pieces out of the
Absolutely.
conduct and just say, hey, parents, just so you know.
I'm also curious to see, like what you said, Aaron, after meeting with the teachers, because you haven't really had that conversation. I mean, you have had conversations, obviously, but
Not collectively.
right. And so
but
I
just
feel
sort of
like
principle.
that's going to be a big deal and make a big.
Yep.
We have to see what they're doing and how it impacts them
Right.
and their students more so than anything. I feel like,
Yes, agreed.
right?
And we won't have an opportunity with our entire staff until August. And
Right.
we can send out emails, we can send out communications, our principals can share information in their staff meetings, but collectively, we won't be able to address this and introduce it until August 26th, probably.
Right.
Which is fine. I was just feeling like we only got a couple more board meetings before we.
Right.
So it's like, let's just wrap up.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that's been hanging for me that I just.
Gotcha.
wrap up.
Yeah, and again, it doesn't need to be, it's not a decision that we're voting on. We've agreed that it's gonna be a form, just like a procedure where procedures are. Okay,
Someone asked, is there guidance? Yes. there
yes.
is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a couple things I wanna go over. So recently we received some amazing news about Gaz and Canyon Creek, who received, based off of last year's Smarter Balance results, this great news that they're one of 379 public schools out of 100. So we have 150 districts that also had schools that have received this level of recognition through the state board. So this is something that happens annually. What comes with this recognition based on these scores, and these two schools received a similar acknowledgement for growth for students in one or more racial or ethnic groups. So looking at our disaggregated data. And so each school will get a banner and we'll bring the banners. Hopefully we'll receive these in the next couple of weeks to either the June meeting or in August, depending on when we get those. So appreciate the work that those two schools have been doing. It seems that it can be great to receive this earlier in the year, but we don't get it earlier in the year. This is when we get it
Yeah.
for the previous year, as we're doing Smarter Balance right now. And so hopefully we'll see more schools receiving similar recognition. So to Jocelyn and what she already shared, I already have the slide prepared. She is so active with Unite and everything that Unite is connected with. And so she was recently a part of the drug take back event. Unite does multiple per year. So just one of a few, a small list of students that are part of this national organization and what she gets to share. So that's pretty impressive for us to have one of our students.
Very.
And when you see her and listen to her and her, what inspires her and where she's spending her time,
Yeah.
it's pretty impressive. And looking forward to see just how successful she's going to be. So this is one of our teachers, Will Bauer, at the high school. He received some recognition last year through the state. He attended the NSTA conference earlier this spring. So this is a little bit past news, but just appreciate how he continues to be a part of not only in the state, well aligned to our science instruction, our science teachers. He was recognized and is the newly elected president for the Washington State Science Teachers Association. And so he's doing amazing work at the high school, within the state and across the country. And it's through his interest in being a part of our team and really being a curriculum developer and aligning everything he does to the science standards in a way that I think is engaging for our students. So just proud of him and all that he's accomplished and continues to do.
He was really excited about meeting. That was like his
Yeah, yes,
like
his
it was
hero.
a fame moment for
Yes,
him. He's
yes.
talking about that a lot in
Yes.
class. It's really
Yeah,
fun.
that's funny. So we have a number of our students participate in the equestrian team. And it is identified as the Washougal High School equestrian team. They team with Stevenson School District or the students in Stevenson. It's a club. So really it's not like one of our sports, which gets challenging for them in just the level of recognition that they receive. But we've had an equestrian connection for decades.
Yeah.
And so they are wrapping up their season. It's an incredibly demanding season. I think there's a post recently that we just published on our Facebook page that has a lot of context. That's where I got these pictures. And so as they wrapped it up, they're going into their the next level of competition towards state. And then it's maybe like regionally when they get down to the final events. So just appreciate all the work that they do for something they're very passionate about. It's, I'm sure, very physically demanding. They've had a number of injuries, both themselves and their horses, more than they typically have. I'm sure it's extremely expensive. The whole family goes to these events, which are not clubs. So just appreciate them and sharing their updates with us. And so just wish them luck the rest of the season.
Fun to watch. Yeah.
And so this is just the WSHS equestrian team at District 6. So I think you're aware, but this is like the final play of the musical that the high school is putting on, and it's Frozen, and it's coming up this weekend and next weekend. And so I think we're doing a number of school shows. So I think that's going to happen like 2 different matinees that are happening, which will be fun at the high school to have our elementary students participating. And so I think there's a lot of energy and excitement for Frozen.
My son's already talking about it.
Is he going to his class is going on a field trip?
I don't remember which day, but
They're pumped.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is so cool. I love that they did that.
Yeah, as a former high school principal, that was always exciting to have 400 elementary students. At the same time, we have all the high school students. So it's great time.
Get over here.
You sure he's having a little PTSD?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool, and there's just, they just love Frozen, right? And that when they chose
Who doesn't
this,
love
and I know
Frozen?
there's just this, yeah, just really, they're excited about it, and there's so much time invested in this production and all of those productions, and so it starts with an amazing teacher, and then the students and their commitment to that this is their thing, right? And I mean, examples like this is one of the reasons why they go to school, is to have these opportunities, and this is what they're gonna remember, so pretty excited about that. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to this topic, which I think I shared with Ida, Sadie earlier. I have a conflict the day of our retreat in July.
And I think we should take all of July off.
So I'm wondering if we could,
Right?
and we would, the decision would be next board meeting, but I just wanted to throw it out there that I have a conflict on a date that we'd already established, and I'm wondering if we can possibly consider a date in June where we could meet, and it's actually that the last week of school, and I think possibly on that Tuesday when we have a board meeting.
So the 23rd?
No, it's
June, it would be.
excuse me, so it wouldn't be on that, yeah, what is the,
16.
sorry, the 16th.
16th is the last day of school.
Yeah, so sorry, yeah, the last day of school, the 16th. So if that's a possibility. And
Can we make that work?
maybe from 9 to 1 could be our retreat. And the idea of doing it when this is all somewhat fresh in our minds, leading into July, and then in August, we'll have 2 board meetings. And I did it before the board meeting started, we're talking about, there's just some items that we want to connect it to, like our calendar, and certainly planning for next year, that we could possibly, that could be part of, we'd identify as our discussions.
Sweet.
So go ahead.
The only issue I see with that is a 3-hour early release for us who have
Yep.
kids.
Okay.
So I could probably get my kids home, but I have older kids.
Sure.
So I don't know if that would be an issue with younger kids at all. No,
I
okay.
can make Bruce.
Okay.
If I have advance.
So maybe earlier.
Okay.
Take the bus to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as we've got advance notice, if we could firm up the date within the
Yes.
next week or two.
So so initially, does that date
Yeah.
seem like
Yeah.
it's a possibility?
I'm totally fine with
I'm
that.
in town.
We never do anything on
I
that.
think
Nine-
you'll be able to get a quorum.
At 9 o'clock?
I can't.
For the,
I
or for the,
already know I'm gonna be in California.
oh,
Okay.
I
We'll have
got
to do
go to a wedding.
Okay.
no, that's okay.
Did
But
you
it's
have
for a
plans?
retreat, so we want to make sure that we're all there.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Okay, so we're gonna be working.
Come on,
Huh.
I'm already on the road.
Yeah, no, that's
Do you wanna
good.
just send out a survey with like a couple dates and then we can all say all the ones that
Yeah.
work for us and
Yeah.
then,
I love that
Okay,
idea.
we'll do
Yeah.
that.
cause I just would need to know within the next probably week and a half.
Sure.
Weeks to block travel.
Got it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then I think the last thing, so talked a little bit about middle school's track and soccer is also going on.
Yeah.
We have our girls that are golfers at the high school are
Yeah.
competing right now at districts. So the first day of a 2-day tournament happened today. Tennis happened last week for districts. So we have girls tennis going on. High school track, I think, is going into my district. And then baseball was playing Plum River today. And we hosted a playoff game on Saturday. They won. And then there was prom, and we didn't hear about prom win.
I know, I was
Gonna
gonna,
ask.
I was.
I know, I didn't
like,
either.
I'm not gonna.
I didn't either. So what's that? Oh, is that right?
And that's what I heard.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get an update next time.
Cool. It looks
Okay,
very fun. Yeah.
great.
I didn't get my invitation to be a chaperone and dress up, but
Darn it, I'll make a note of that for next year.
thank you.
Yes.
Run the theme by me first.
Yeah.
I wanted to be dressed up like Bridgerton. Yeah. Sorry.
I always reuse the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's like a 10-year.
Oh, come on.
I don't think they do.
Bridgerton season 2.
Yeah.
All right.
I like the way you.
Sandy, I think we're ready.
Okay, yes, we, next we have our certified appreciation.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay.
You set up.
Yep.
Because this is quick.
Yep.
And so, and you already highlighted, last week was teacher appreciation.
Yeah.
week, and that includes not just our classroom teachers, our
Right.
specialists,
Yeah.
our ESAs, so educational support associates. So all of
The
our
staff.
certificated staff, yes. So it's, we appreciate and what you identified. And I was in numerous buildings, and every day there was something set up by our boosters. Yeah, and literally in every building, lots of fun things to eat.
Coffee
And
cart one day.
Coffee cart, and many times it was either in the staff room or it was something mobile. And so I don't know if people thought maybe I was just showing up like for time to eat.
Freebies.
And I never did participate.
Testing it
Those
out.
were not items
Just
for me. But it was just, yeah, the energy, the appreciation, the gratitude, and it is well deserved, right? And as I've shared recently with individuals, how challenging, and as I see information on social media about just some feedback, right? About public education and the work that we do, that we support. I so appreciate all of our teachers, all of our educators and what they do on a daily basis. And so to have a week really dedicated to them and to see the community come together and recognize what they do is awesome. And we had a survey that we sent out, it's like shout outs. So those were shared on our, many of them I think were shared on our Facebook page, shared with those individuals. And so just thankful for our team and all that they do.
Not every district gets to do that. I have heard from a few friends in other districts that not every district has that, just for numerous reasons. But it's, that makes me sad. I'm like, can we help another district next year? But
Yeah.
we do get spoiled in our areas. We're lucky to live here.
Great. Yep.
right.
Okay,
Are we on to our CTE?
we are, yes. Yes, so we have Margaret Rice here, and Margaret, I do believe you know all of the board, including Greg Rutchless. Yes, yes. You
Greg knows
have
the
worked
board, yeah.
together. Yeah, so Margaret is here. There's an annual CTE presentation. She shared it with you prior, I think last week.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving that to us to then share with the board. So I think that you appreciate seeing these presentations in advance.
Yes.
I think that allows you to understand like the context of the presentation as well as if you have some questions. So Margaret is in a different role this year as well as being our CT director. So she teaches at a teaching academy in the mornings at Excelsior with a number of students from across the county. And so I had a chance a couple weeks ago or a month ago to visit with her team, and I could tell how much they appreciate her and the work that she is doing. And then we see these students in our classrooms. So I've seen them in multiple buildings it's somewhat of an internship that they have as they're observing. And I think in some cases, probably doing some teaching.
Yep, they sure are.
Yes. So all of that to say that she's extremely busy and continues to be one of our leaders. She oversees the CTE program, and it has been I'm sure a big transition to she's shared some of the responsibilities with some of the building administrators and just working through, and she's somewhat mentoring some of our building administrators as in the morning she's working with CTA students, and then in the afternoon she's doing this and in the evening yes the CTE work. So thanks for being here, thanks for putting together the presentation. And so if you have questions throughout, do you want them to ask?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I would like to recognize this is a very formal thing, but it doesn't need to be. It's only formal because this is a board meeting.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, please, ask questions. It's easier to ask in the moment than to try and hold them until the end, although I will have a Q&A at the end. So, whatever, works best for you is fine. So thank you. It's an honor and a privilege, and thank you for all those kind things that you said. Appreciate that. So I was trying to think of how many years I've been here. I think it's 13, which is nuts. But anyway, time goes by. So yes, thank you so much. I also recognize we have some new board members. So I just want to give just a little bit about career and technical ed, 'cause you hear CTE all the time. But I want to talk just a little bit about what makes us different than other academic programs. And the main thing is that we offer exploratory and preparatory programs, and we are held to 12 standards by the state of Washington, and that's different than other academic programs. And so as I go through my report tonight, which you will all have seen, but I can actually speak to it, the data I'm going to share is really centered around those standards, those program standards, and what makes us different. So please feel free to ask questions because I know there's a learning curve. I've been doing it for a while, so I will forget if you don't know. You got to tell me. So the other thing I want to share, and it's interesting because I promise I didn't like set Jacob up or tap, any of that. And I know even Mr. Hansen, he was talking about the 2 awards. We live in, like, as administrators, we always live like in the future. We try to live in the present. We're always strategically planning, but the data we get is always in the past. So it's really annoying. So, but we haven't finished this year yet.
Right.
So I don't have data from this year. So when I talk about data tonight, it's going to be about last year. But I am going to share some of the good things we're doing kind of as a result of some of that data. So, so the first thing I want to talk about is dual credit. And even though dual credit is not unique to CTE, dual credit means college and high school credit at the same time. The way in which we offer dual credit is unique. So you may have heard of college and the high school and AP or advanced placement. CTE dual credit is offered through articulation. And so what that means is that we partner with our community colleges to actually offer the college class embedded in our CTE classes. So we make sure that we are, the courses that we're offering have the outcomes and the competencies that college course would offer. And the beauty of that is that our students never have to leave Washougal High School. They get to have that college experience while they are like in their comfort zone. And that's important for our students because some of them don't believe they can go to college. So being able to achieve that in their CTE classes where they're comfortable, they know the teachers, they know the students, and the environment is there is pretty awesome. So last year, we actually had an increase of 215 students accessing dual credit for a total of 470 students earning that dual credit. Now you might look at that number and go, whoa. Well, some of our students take multiple CTE classes, so they could have earned college credit in 2 and 3 courses. Also very cool, right? So there are duplicate students in those numbers. Something that is very unique too.
Sorry, those numbers are just Washougal.
Correct. Yep, just the high school. So something that is unique to career and technical education is the fact that we offer industry recognized credentials or certifications. The beauty of this is that we offer our students the opportunity for them to really showcase their knowledge and skills in a way that businesses recognize. So not only do we offer them the opportunity to earn college credit, but we offer them the opportunity to get their foot in the door, like in the workplace. So this is one of the beauties of career and technical education. So we had over 1,500 students earn certifications last year. Again, students could be taking multiple classes, but we also have classes that offer multiple certifications. So they could be earning 2 or 3 certifications sitting in one CTE class. So, so there's a lot of opportunity there for students. We also had almost 90% of our CTE graduation pathway completers earning those IRCs or industry recognized credentials as well.
So you almost tripled the number of certifications earned in 1 year. That's not small. What led to?
Well, so sometimes we are able to bring in more.
Uh-huh.
So we have more offered than we did the year before. So that helps as well. So we're always looking for, we do the same thing with college credit. We're always looking for, this part of my job, how to expand those opportunities for our students. Work-based learning is another unique opportunity that we offer for our students. And this is the one thing that's offered like across all CTE classes. So the last two that I talked about, those certifications and college credit, is high school only. This is middle school too. And we have middle school programs. All of our CTE courses offer work-based learning opportunities. So what does that mean? Could be guest speakers, it could be career research projects, job shadows, internships, service learning projects, school-based enterprises, you know, lots of structured field trips, lots of things like that. Every course should be offering, every CTE course should be offering work-based learning. So even though this 67% seems like a lot of, you know, over 1,700 students, again, could be getting, having multiple opportunities. And of course, this is now middle school and high school, so it's more students. But we actually dropped from the year before, which was 76%. So because of that, this became our strategic focus for this year. And so we put a lot of energy and time into the why and the how. So why is this happening? How are we going to change it? And so I'm going to show you some of the things we've done this year to try and change the trajectory of that. But one of the main things we did was we're offering more than one opportunity in classes. So if we have a student that's missing, that's gone for a day, and they miss a guest speaker, they've missed that opportunity. So we want to make sure that we're kind of reciprocal teaching, and we're bringing in more opportunities so that we make sure they have that. And every time they have it in every CTE class, it just builds on on their experience, their connections, and their ability to help make decisions for their future.
So this percent just for the CTE students or for the entire?
This is just for CTE. This is unique to CTE courses and programs.
So aside from absences, what keeps them from, 30% aren't doing it? Like, what's keeping them?
That's the big one. We also had some teachers that didn't do it, like they didn't offer it. So we were talking about that and figuring out how to make sure that doesn't happen. But the big one is attendance. And if you look at our attendance rates, it's definitely a problem if you're only offering it once. You could definitely miss a pretty good chunk of students. So we want to make sure we're making sure we don't do that as much as we possibly can.
Is it a lot for a teacher to do? Is there a reason why not all teachers want to offer this?
I don't know if it's a want to, but they get, and they get busy doing their thing, and it's like, oh, I should have had a guest speaker, and the semester's over, or I had a guest speaker planned, and then they canceled because they got sick, and then if you're just doing the one and done, you miss it, right? So that's why the series, guest speaker series, makes a lot more sense. And if you are looking at it from a career perspective, then bringing in different types of careers that connect to that class is also very useful, because some students may not even know that some of these jobs exist, right? Or career, like coupling it with career research or something like that. So we're talking about different ways to bring that in and make that an enriching part of the class, not just a box to check.
Sure.
And our advisory committees too are committed to this. And so we've actually activated them. We came together this year as that's something else that's unique to career and technical education. We have program advisories, and then I have a general advisory committee. And so all of our advisory committees came together and we have a single goal around this. So we did a student showcase this year to start working on networking and getting more adults in different fields connected with our students and our teachers, so that we have kind of a bigger pool of people to pull from, things like that. So we've again strategically working on it. So it's not gonna stop after this year. So that's how you get things done, is by continuing to work on it. So our grad pathway success is pretty remarkable. When you look at the state target rate, we're just 0.2% from hitting that state target rate for our CTE grad pathway completers. Do you know what that means when I say that? So there are several ways that students can choose like their graduation pathway. And it's supposed to be connected to their high school and beyond plan.
Right.
So what is it you plan on doing? So they could do it through like ASVAB testing, or if they're going into the military, for example. So students that are interested in pursuing careers that are CTE, CTE careers, even if they're going on to college, university, trade school, whatever, they can choose this as their pathway. And so that's what I'm talking about, is our grad seniors. This is our senior cohort for our CTE completers. And they nailed it. Work-based learning and their dual credit, like 100% of them had those experiences and earn that credit. So when we think about doing this, like from 7th grade on, right, we want to start earlier so that we make sure they're building on those learnings and have those experiences.
Yeah.
And the more we offer that, the better our students are for it. So this is an example of what happened. Can't even see it. Oh yeah, that one you can't. That's weird. Sorry.
That's weird.
Just kind of like, what happened to my slide? Little comic relief there. So I wanted to share this because this is an example of when we actually strategically focus on something, how we can enact change. So several years ago, so this is another like data point for CTE, is we look at non-traditional occupational areas. And in OSPI's non-traditional or non-trad would be gender-based. So for example, a non-traditional role in like skilled and technical career fields is going to be female, because it's a male dominated industry, whereas like healthcare, for example, is a female dominated industry. So what we're trying to do is balance that. And then on top of that, we're trying to make sure that our students see themselves in the occupation they want to be in, no matter what gender they are, whatever, right? We want them to know that they can do whatever they want, whatever they put their minds to. So when we had this 10%, barely over 10% non-traditional access here, we kind of took a look at this and went, whoa, okay, how do we move the dial on this? What do we need to do? So we made some changes to making sure that our students have access to this type of these experiences, so that they can then take the class and feel confident, comfortable taking those classes. So like, for example, we use the high school and beyond plan data to identify students who are interested in certain fields. We then are constantly looking for field trip opportunities or ways that we can get students to those types of events, so that they can like really focus in on that. So we've also purchased some simulators and things that kind of help take the fear factor out of some of the things, some of the industries, things like that. So over the course of a couple of years, we've seen that that change, which is fabulous. And this isn't like, it's not that this isn't a focus anymore. We have now systems in place and we're doing things that we know are working. And so we'll continue to do those and we continue to build on those. And as we see shifts, then we'll be able to pivot because we know how to do it. So our hope is that we'll see the same type of jump in our work-based learning as we've seen with the work that we've done around non-traditional enrollment. Yeah.
Did you also see a jump in overall CT enrollment?
No, we've actually seen it go down, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a shift, demographic shift.
Yeah, and now, some of the factors we can't really determine is do we have more more female interest in this just because, or was it work that we did?
Yeah.
That I can't tell you. That's like,
Yeah.
but
The cohort that came through, right?
right, exactly. Yep, because we are looking at every year as different students, right?
Yeah.
Well, and at least the ones that graduate are gone, and then a new group comes in and adds to, right, which changes that. But yeah, we have seen just like everybody else, we've seen
There's less
declining.
kids, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just less kids.
It's just such a big jump that you're like, did you somehow get more? Be like, hey, go with this. Margaret's doing a great thing. Let's go over here and see what.
Well, I'd like to say that that's what's happening, but I don't think so. I think we have great people working in this department that are passionate about kids, about meeting them where they're at and getting them across the finish line and helping them move seamlessly into whatever that next step is. So, talking with students, we have like our I'll digress just for a second and I'll get back. But I mean, our career specialist and our CTE assistant in the career center are doing things like they have snacks out for students, and before the students get a snack, they have to draw a question and answer the question, and they're tracking the answers to the question, and those questions have to do with their interests and those types of things. So they're getting to know these students really well. And they're using that information to help them
Good.
with
Pay to
those.
play.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah. It's just being strategic.
Yeah.
We want to help you, so help us help you, kind of a thing. Yeah. So now comes a fun part. We're gonna spotlight a couple of programs, and Greg, this one's for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna start with our hospitality and tourism programs, and that's our culinary and baking pastry. Just a little bit about these programs. Not only are we teaching students just life skills, right? How do you cook and bake for yourself? How do you curate something from scratch and make it like yummy and wonderful? To like those skills transferring into the workplace. We have students that are getting several certifications and working towards the Safe Serve certifications, which are industry, like high-end industry standards. They've done a lot of work-based learning this year. They did two mini chef opportunities at elementary schools. They worked with our kindergartners doing pancake letters. And they also worked with the dual language first grade class and taught them how to make tortillas and salsa, which was fabulous and fun. They were doing the stride with our food truck.
So excited.
I have to shout out to our partners with the port, with the city, with Washougal School District. We couldn't do that mobile learning lab without their support. It doesn't function like a food truck like you see out because it is a learning lab. So our partners have provided safe learning opportunities for our students to cater and scale what they're learning in class and be able to serve on a bigger, like
Yeah.
as a business, right? Without having to worry about making a profit and some of the other things. They learn about it, but they don't have to
Worry about
bear the burden of
Yeah.
that, which is fabulous. The food truck was at the industry fair this year. It was a huge success. All the feedback we got was almost everything was about the food truck. And the latest is actually we're partnering with a Greater Vancouver Chamber, which we said we would not go outside of this area. And guess what? We're not. Pendleton is the highlight business, and so the Shoe Shack will be at business after hours Pendleton later on this month. So that's pretty exciting. All right, and then the other program, the other program I wanted to highlight today is our skilled trades. This is not just our construction trades program, but our welding manufacturing program. And these students are amazing. They make incredible things from more craft type that could be those skills could be transferred into like cabinetry making and things like that. I don't know what's happening, but anyway. And also they're learning things like plumbing, electrical, and the like, as well as welding. And so our students in these programs also do quite a bit of work-based learning. They have they did the toolbox builds, which is a legacy project with our fourth graders at every single middle school, which is an all hands on deck. And some of you have been there, which is really fun. We did actually Women in Trades is this Friday. So we're taking a group of young women to learn more about the trades. Portland Trades Days, Youth Contractor Forum, and Dozer Days too. And then last week and this week, we had our grade 13 event, which is put on by Careers in Construction. Last week's was actually construction, and then today's was welding based. And that event is actually a hiring event. It's regional, where we can bring like our top 5 students from these programs, and many of them walk out with interviews. And so the idea behind this is to actually have them hired before they graduate. So that is our hope. We're keeping our fingers crossed, but yeah, we've got a lot of kids who are getting ready to sit through some interviews for that.
And,
Yeah.
and those juniors and seniors or juniors?
Those are the grade 13 is seniors only.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
because they're looking,
Seniors.
the businesses that are there are looking to hire like right now.
Do we have any of these programs where we have more kids wanting to get in than we can actually sustain? And if so, kind of what are we thinking there?
Well, yes, but it's because our enrollment's shrinking. No, I mean, yes and no. So
Say more.
yeah, so in the past, like our culinary program, for example, culinary baking pastry in particular is super popular.
Yep.
And so we have had years where like all the kids that sign up can't take it that year. So then we have to prioritize. So we start with students that's their post-high school plan.
Mhm.
So that's where we start. Those are automatic ins. And then we look at seniors, and then we look at juniors, because they have other, the younger classmen have other opportunities to take it. So that's kind of how we've done it. Makes sense. Yeah.
Will you keep us posted on the results of if you get interviews and
I will.
how that works?
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Aaron we can
Yeah.
track along.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely
Excited.
will, because we're on pins and needles just waiting. So it's always exciting to see what happens coming out of those events. But what's amazing is how many businesses show up. And it's almost like sort of like speed dating. You're at a table and they're speed interviewing, right? But our students come dressed, they've got their resumes, they're ready to go, and they're talking and they're shaking hands and they're meeting those folks in their then they're off to the next one, off to the next one, off to the next one. So, and then, like I said, last week, I know, I think all 5 had at least one interview. Some had multiple interviews. And, today I'm gonna actually share that one later. So I'm gonna put a pin in that, come back, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay. So, some of the other things we've done to try and help with the work-based learning, strategic focus, is our career center, our career specialists, and we try to schedule things through the career center that will also help with this. So we've had 29 so far this year, 29 industry military and college visits come through. Some of those college visits are, they actually do instant acceptance. So we've had students come in and they sit with those advisors, and they're enrolling, and they get instantly accepted, and they're all like, oh my gosh, what happened? I'm in. It's amazing. We also do, like I shared some in my spotlights, but course and career related field trips. We've had 22 so far this year. Those guest speakers that come through, we had a regional career fair. You might notice this picture is different. I switched it out because this is a picture from a new thing we started this year, and we can thank Rose Ruff, our career specialist, for that, career counselor. It's called Scholarship. So what she was seeing is a lot of students were asking about scholarship applications and things like that. And so she hosted this after school scholarship event. And you may have heard about it through through a superintendent's report, but really successful.
Great idea.
And she is still sending scholarship applications in. I was in her office yesterday, and there are envelopes in there, and she's sending them in, and they're, so we're excited. We're hoping a lot of kids get some money this year. Pop-up plan, the youth expo, and then I know Jacob said something about, the networking and getting, so one of the things we did this year was we added a CTE leadership skills and showcase networking event pre our industry hiring fair. And we specifically invited the businesses that were at the industry fair to come through, meet our students, see what they can do. FBLA was there. And Camus, of course, that's a partner program. So Camus student leaders were there as well. We also did a health science, participated in a mass casualty training this year too, which I thought was kind of cool. But the other thing, Jacob just stole my thunder on this one, but that's okay. It sounded better coming from him.
Very excited.
Yeah, this is another thing that's very unique to current technical education programs, but we extend the learning from our classroom to student leadership organizations like FBLA. We call them CTSOs, lots of acronyms, but career and technical student organizations. And so FBLA, Skills USA, HOSA, which is Health Occupations Student Association. There are locally developed clubs too. We even have them at the middle school. So these are ways that students can take the learning that they've gotten in class and compete and learn more and dig deeper in those skills. Like Jacob said, we had our first in a very long time national qualifier, and that was in a future business educators competition, which is exciting. This group under Jacob's leadership, quite frankly, is quite phenomenal. They won 3 chapter awards this year. It was Chapter of the Month, Operation Future Leader Membership Campaign, and the Gold Seal Award. So I expect more great things from them next year, as he is a senior. I do love the idea of them going back up on the hill, and will fully support that like I did this year. There's some really great opportunities there. And by doing it the way we did it this year, I think it really allowed for more students to have that legislative, knowledge and experience that I don't think a lot of them had ever had. So so it was really, really cool to see, a great networking event for them. And then finally, I like to show, kind of spotlight a few students. So our first is Chloe, and Chloe wants to be a photographer. She wants to own her own business. She already has an internship set up with a local photographer. She is planning on continuing her education and she'll get a degree. But photography is definitely her passion. And she's already started building her portfolio of work. Jose is a ASVAB completer. He is going into the Navy. He's already been enlisted. He actually did very well in the ASVAB and will be working in plumbing, HVAC, and hydraulics for them. He actually wants to be a plumber and wants to potentially own his own business. He actually got second in state at Skills USA in plumbing. Do you see how this works? Isn't it amazing? Duke, aka Prom King, will be attending WSU Pullman. He's already been accepted into the education program where he will study to become a secondary history teacher. What's really amazing about Duke is that he is a CTE completer twice. So 2 pathways. ASL is a 4-year ASL student, and then he took the Teaching Academy satellite program this year. And he actually used his teaching, the skills that he learned in the Teaching Academy class to start a middle school ASL club through Club Unite. And so he's been practicing using his teaching strategies and his ASL in that capacity, which is pretty cool. And then Adrena, I'm pulling the pin out, went to today's grade 13 event. She plans on becoming a construction laborer, specifically wants to be a welder, which is fabulous. There's not a lot of welders. Plans to go straight into the workforce, and she has an interview that was set up today with ProTech. So we're hoping good things come from that, and that we get her, see her in a job before she graduates. So as we look ahead to next year, like I said, our strategic goal around work-based learning is not going to end. We are going to leverage the partnerships we have and our advisory committees to continue to add and build onto those experiences for our students. Because it really does start with us, and we need to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to make sure that they have those opportunities. So that is all. How can I help you guys? Any questions?
Go ahead.
It's supposed to be our question to you. How can we help you, right? Like,
Well, I will reach out.
I mean, I love
Yeah.
the goal of the WPL, right? Like, the more that you can kind of get in there, and I recognize some in there. I know one's working with Dairy Queen now, and
Yeah.
he was there pouring milk, right? Like in the photo, but like it works.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
keep doing what you do.
Thank you. Yep. It's what we need to do. So it takes a little time.
Is that thunder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It starts
It's
raining, I
coming.
had my sunroof open, so I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. Look, I think I look.
Like,
We were like other schools.
Yeah, I think Ben's
in
might
this
open.
town. They had interviews at BizTown, and that's, you know.
Yeah, that was at Jump Guard, right?
No,
out of the way.
Is it all of the grade schools had interviews?
Oh, right.
Actually, I don't
Practice
think Cape did. The other 3 did.
Cool. So they're,
They're starting early.
starting early.
And they were very impressive. You know, you were mentioning eye contact and handshakes when they were in your, 13 grade 13 students were going around and shaking hands and making impressions. The youth that we interviewed, that we participated with, were just spot on. Great handshakes, great eye contact. We had a presentation last board meeting with a group of fifth graders.
Yes,
that-
yeah.
That came around and introduced
Oh, yeah.
themselves, shook hands, and
The
the
future.
parents are going, parents were saying, you know.
Who
guys,
did it, right?
Exactly. He just grown a lot through
Yeah.
the experience, so
It's fabulous. Yeah,
on
yep,
track.
perfect. That's awesome.
I don't have anything. Yeah.
I just want to echo what he said, and please let us know how we can help you, because like obviously a big part of my career is looking at workforce planning, and the students that you're preparing are desperately needed.
Yeah.
And also in a great position for where a lot of labor is headed. So if there is anything that we can do to support you, please do not hesitate to ask.
Absolutely.
This is
No,
really
I
great.
will. Yeah, thank you so much. Absolutely.
Hint, budgeting.
What's
So
that?
I said hint, budgeting is.
So I know that there was so appreciation for seeing the presentation in advance. What came up was the possibility of a CTE based site visit that we could plan for next year.
I would love
And
that.
that could be at the high school, we could visit like multiple CTE classrooms. Or we could just visit one program. So I think that's something we could talk about in planning for next year. We could also set up a trip to Cascadia Tech. So
Preferably
That's-
baking would be good.
baking,
Thank
sure.
you, whatever you
We're gonna
want.
do well
show
tonight.
us.
I mean,
That's what I'm
Well, I
interested
mean-
in seeing.
These two talked about Nicole Simek, so I mean, you should definitely go see her, especially after they talked about her. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we could definitely set something like that up. I'd love for you guys, and maybe it's what you want to see. So
Yeah.
we could do a combination of, right, what you're interested in seeing and we'll go from there.
And the CTA visit hasn't happened with this board. I think you were or previous, it's been a while.
It's been a while. We did it when Mary was here,
Mhm.
but it's been a
So
long
it's
time.
been a while
Yeah.
and that's something you'd be interested in doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bigger commitment because of its location.
Mhm.
So something to think about and we'll be planning that. I think a couple of the things that I have as far as takeaways. I appreciate you asking Margaret, like, how can you help her and what she's doing? I see, and you mentioned BizTown, so I see us doing some of these these skills that our students need, that you're showing us what they're doing. So BizTown's a good example. I know in second grade at Cape, multiple times they have brought in a guest speaker. And the guest speaker is talking about their career, like what they currently are doing. So it isn't just happening in, like CTE really starts in seventh grade.
Yeah.
So 7 through 12, that's where our students are having these experiences in CTE courses. We're also working on this prior to the seventh grade, which I appreciate. And I think that it's part of Margaret's influence that we're seeing this. And we're also seeing our students like excelling. John Gerard, who's a part of, he's a Quail Homes
Owner and,
builder.
Careers in construction.
Yeah, very much involved with careers and construction. And this is like his work, like his hands are very much in his influence on seeing our students being ready for this type of work, skills, construction specifically, but then like any I think skill-based career. And so we are in communication with him. Margaret knows him very well. And so I think those kind of connections are helpful for our future programs. And the idea of getting him a part of the next presentation is our resource optimization work group, like him being a part of that, or getting some of his thoughts on how we can work together. And so it's a great presentation, really good information. Any other things you want to add as far as, so I know that there's a request for a field trip for the board, a site visit, the board in the future to see our students and our staff working together in these programs.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, if you're gonna field trip to CTA, you could actually see the two satellite programs too. that
We're
are,
hosting,
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah, that's another idea.
there we go. That's a better idea. Instead of, yeah,
So this isn't really for the CTE program, but it seems like work-based learning is important for everyone.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what we're doing for all the non-CTE students. Like, are there opportunities for them to also like have people from the outside come in and share their like career
Yeah.
pathways, et cetera?
yeah. So I know that Jump to Guard, there's a career day that's coming up.
Same up at Canyon.
And it's called career, it's more of a career, I think it's called Career Day at GMS. At Caney Creek, it's called Future Focused.
Mhm.
So that's happening in June, where they're organizing, and Jump to Guard has done it multiple years in a row. And so we can if you're interested, make sure you have the details if you want to see that.
I'm thinking about the high school students who have decided on their career pathway. Like, that's great. I love that we're doing it for middle school. They probably don't know, but they want to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, but by high school, they're supposed to have a plan.
Yeah,
So are we
Yeah.
marrying them with outside people like we
yeah,
are?
so
Yeah.
we are fortunate to have a career specialist at the high school. That's a big part of what Rose does, is work with, and you saw the data
Mhm.
on the number of organizations that come in and our students get to interface with, and that can lead to some possible opportunities. The work-based learning or worksite learning that Rose does is also, that's another part of her job, is working with students who are currently working. That may not be their chosen field, but it also might be their chosen field.
But
So-
they could learn transferable skills too. But then as far as like in class, like other classes that are not CTE classes, it's really up to the teacher. And there are teachers that bring in like guest speakers and things like that, but where CTE, that's a required piece to it.
Gotcha.
So the others, it's like up to the
Kind of.
teacher. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that that's something more this board is interested in learning about, and all the possibilities for our students and opportunities. I think the career specialist position and what's happening in the Career Center is that's kind of like where a lot of this information is
hub.
located.
It's a hub.
It's a hub. And then and it's interesting you bring that up because there's a recent article that was shared with me. I shared with Margaret of the Wall Street Journal talking about smaller rural districts and how can they better connect with their students to future opportunities and earning a decent wage, right? And these jobs can lead to other opportunities. So it's an interesting article that I can share with you. And again, we already have a position like that in place. And then we also have a number of students who are connected, who do Running Start. And so I think it's looking at the entire opportunities, all the opportunities and what a student chooses and when they choose that, the direction they go, and how do we support them? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we're gonna transition to our resource optimization work.
I have a quick question because I keep hearing thunder. Are we allowed to take a quick 2-minute break to go and close our windows?
Yes, we can. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're setting up for sure.
They could get longer.
I know, I'm like, I don't remember.
Oh, I know why.
Like. It didn't look like it was gonna thunder and lightning.
Good 8 o'clock.
I'm hoping mine is just. I think I shut mine. Yeah, but I'm gonna be like, well, I think I did, and then it won't. Oh, yeah. It's starting.
So do you wanna run a presentation or you want me to do it? Okay, you got it? Yeah.
Hey, Lauren, since you have weather.
I'm doing that. Okay. Okay, we're all back.
All
We're
right.
so ready for our row update.
Yes, so this is our, oh yeah, we left Paul outside.
Oh, wait, why do we not get that much thunder here?
It's very rare.
But I love it. I love it. Of course, my kids have a color at home.
If there's any science teachers that want to explain that to me at a later date, I am open to listening to this. I get thunderstorms in Illinois. Yeah, never here. Yeah,
So
one of the work-based learning things that happens for like all of the ninth grade students would be something like the Clark PUD guest speakers
Oh, yeah.
that came in.
Yep.
You know, so I think that kind of answers the question that Ida had about, you know, how are we catching all students and kind of exposing them to these different pathways?
Yeah, my son actually really enjoyed that too. It's a good one.
Okay, so this is our second row update. So in December, we shared what was going on with our row meetings, and it happened up until that December presentation. So this is the second presentation or update, and the idea being that this information we're sharing now will be published on our website. So similar to our budget has its own webpage, and when we were going through the levy, we also had a web page dedicated to the levy. So this row will have its own dedicated website. And so we have a number of slides we're going to go through. This one here should look familiar. And I appreciate I've had a number of board members in communications connecting our work to the strategic plan, or making sure that we're connecting our work to the strategic plan. So just 3 goal areas: academic foundation, behavior supports, learning partnerships. And within that, there's more additional information regarding like how are we doing that, different grade bands. So let's go to the next slide. I know that we're moving into a late hour and also crummy weather. So
And a lot of this is.
We've talked
right,
about
it is. Yeah, we talked about it. So this slide is really pointing out like what is the issue that we were dealing with here. And I understand that there's a lot of text here. There's a reason, and that typically is a way you present information. But I want to make sure that this is a part of what's shared on our website. This is what we've been talking about
For sure.
as a team. It's what we've been talking about in our row meetings. I know specifically in the consolidation subgroup, this needs to be like re-identified, and we need to have discussion about specifically what is it we are trying to solve. And it is with declining enrollment and aging buildings. What we are seeing is the number of buildings we have and the number of students we have buildings that have fewer and fewer students. And so the money that we receive, which is being reduced with our declining enrollment, is being spread out amongst those buildings that need to have upkeep, maintenance, utilities, and then specific positions that we need to have. We're going to get into those details later. I think the bottom in bold, it's about this, that the revenue that we receive from the state as we have a lower enrollment is reduced. And so we need to continue to adjust to that lower enrollment. And there's this gap that exists that gets bigger and bigger if we don't make those adjustments.
Right.
Next slide. So we're here again, a lot of text, just bulleted, identifying what is occurring here. And is this something that we can continue to sustain year after year? And so the enrollment and funding gap, I just talked about this idea of aging facilities. And we are so fortunate to have a community that is supporting not only the EP&O levy, but also the capital levy, where we've identified specific projects that we've prioritized that are crucial for us. And so we are continuing to do that. And we're doing it in all of our buildings. So we continue to look at all of our buildings and what is necessary as far as ongoing maintenance and repair. And so that our funds are stretched then. When we look at our staffing and the impact of our staffing, and this year is no different than the last couple of years, where we've had to say goodbye to some individuals that we've invested in them and they've invested in us.
Yeah.
It also impacts our programs. Every time we need to reduce staffing that are connected to a program. And so we have a list of positions that we've eliminated that were connected to programs. And typically what happens is that individuals then take on those responsibilities for things that are a part of a program or that are connected to requirements by statute. We refer to those as unfunded mandates or partially funded mandates that we are communicating with our legislative representatives, how challenged that is. And then just the fiscal uncertainty of the dollars that are coming in, when we bargain with our labor partners. So there's a lot of unknowns that are associated with our current reality. And then what's in bold was a quote from a June board meeting last June.
Remember that quote?
Yes, you do. So do I. And so that resulted in an article 7 days later, or 8 days later in the Post Record, and also was in the Columbian, and a big picture of one of our elementary schools. And this idea, and the big idea is that we really need to look at how sustainable is this financial situation that we have with declining enrollment. So that really was the beginning of the formation of this group.
Yeah.
And a request by the board to form a group that's going to look at a number of aspects of our the district. And so that's what this presentation is really all about. Okay. The individuals that have been meeting have been divided into 3 groups. And so we have these 3 groups. At one point we had 4 groups. So we said we're not gonna be able to maintain 4 groups.
Yeah.
Right now we have 3 groups, and we've been discussing, should we go to 2 groups actually? And that is the long range capital investment planning and the school consolidation. Because the future programming needs and alignment group has some ideas and a focus, but it really is, I think the other 2 are the ones that are looking at, and really what they're talking about are very related, very connected. Next slide. And then just here's some facts, and that is that we've had, we really started officially October 22nd. That was a smaller group. There were 2 board members present there. The December meeting, we had a larger number of participants. Then we met in January, December and January. We talked a lot about the levy and planning for the levy. And the idea was, if we're not successful with the levy,
Yeah.
then we're gonna have different conversations. So we know how that ended, and we are thankful for our community. And so then in March, we started having really more focused conversations about the data that we have, which is the demographic study, looking at our enrollment in our individual schools. And so all of that information was very helpful. We also visited Hathaway in March. And the reason we wanted to visit Hathaway is it's one of our elementary schools that we've been discussing in a variety of contexts. It's our oldest building. And if you remember that, if you attended that, we went in the basement. Right, and I think Greg used a different term. Yep. So then our last meeting in April, we visited Gauze in a similar way, toured the building and just looked at some of the updates we've made. Then also went around and looked at the classrooms, size of the classrooms, and just the layout of Gauze. And then our plan in May is to go to Columbia Gorge and tour that building and then meet in a similar way. Who's been participating is we've had board members, we've had current staff, we've had parents, we've had community members. And so individuals have been invited. We've had really every meeting has had different people. And we've had people who showed up at the second meeting who haven't showed up since. And we have people who have let me know that they couldn't make it, they still want to be a part of this. We've had individuals who have moved. Like literally moved out of the state or moved up north. So as we've been meeting, and we've been really inviting everybody, like who's able to attend is anyone who wants to attend. And one of the big, hopefully, things that we do with this communication, what we've been doing is not leaving anybody out. When I really would be surprised if someone said, I'm just completely caught off guard. I had no idea that the district was thinking about doing this or doing that. Like we've been trying to be very communicative and advertising for these opportunities through our communications. It's been posted on our website as meetings that board members can attend, and we're going to continue to do that. Okay, innovative programs. So the person who was really facilitating innovative programs was Connor McCroskey. And Connor is right now, he was in Virginia, And now I think he's gonna be stopping off in another state where he's visiting some individuals that we support. So he is traveling right now. It's a work-related travel. And so we've identified a couple things, the goals of this group, looking at programs and some of the things that they've, I think, where they're at and what would they would recommend to me, what I'm sharing with you. And the first, that picture on the right, that was our, like, really our first meeting in, I think, in December. And so that was the group. That's really the group that's been sticking together. So looking at our transfer data. So the number of families or students that choice out to programs in Clark County, programs across the state that are online programs. And so we shared that data. It also includes, although we didn't look at specific names, the number of families who have the homeschool. And so there's a number of families that choose to access other programs that are not associated with us. Looking at our survey data that we have sent it out to our families and future, like potential future programs. And really where they're, I think, they've settled is we need to be thinking about our dual language program that's at Hathaway. And when our next year we'll have fifth graders in dual language, and then what's after that for those students who have been in the dual language program with us at Hathaway. What's happening with our HiCap program. And Les has shared, I think, a little bit of information about that. We're making some, I would say, some pretty major revisions in that program that we'll see in 26, 27 in the future. And then the Washougal Learning Academy, which we started the 9-12 program this year. We've had K-5 for a number of years. And just how do we best support that program in advertising and letting families know that that's an opportunity for families where that is something they're looking for as an online program for their students.
So what's the next step for that group? Because you're talking about condensing to two groups. Right?
Yeah, well, so it probably in our next meeting, what's going to happen in our next meeting, and then before the next board meeting is we will finalize, and I will be sharing with the board the next meeting, basically what their recommendations are.
Okay.
And then we, at that meeting, we will maybe decide, are we ready to form, like, just go with two groups, or does that group want to continue to work on those programs?
But they have a recommendation and you're just saying, use the head count, put the brains in another group and see what they can add.
Yes, yep.
But I think they have a solid recommendation.
Right, so we just want to finalize that at our next meeting. And we want, almost in a similar way, we want to share with all of the individuals who are participating, that have been participating, because if they've been a part of the other two programs, they aren't familiar with what this group's been discussing.
So because the board doesn't necessarily administer programs.
Right.
So are we approving those recommendations, or is that just more information?
So they're gonna share that information with me, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring that to the board, and we're gonna discuss, if there's something that they've identified that to update you, and it could be something, there's an example of it, it could have been something that like would impact our budget.
Right.
And then so we definitely want to have the board be aware of like a major impact to our budget. If it's something that's regarding curriculum, maybe they identified something within our curriculum that they would suggest, then which we have a board member on that instructional materials committee. So there's just a couple of examples how it might be something that the board would need to weigh in on. And it really would be regarding the budget, if it's something that I think is a major change in something that we're doing. I think that I think there were some ideas early on that were somewhat challenging in how can we put that together, and do we think that would result in a significant improvement in our enrollment? And then we've offered that we would see a number of those families that are homeschooling or choicing out would return. And I don't know that we have necessarily proof that would be impactful. As we've had a number of these families that have been choicing out, really have been choicing out for a significant amount of time, and that number hasn't necessarily been increasing dramatically. It's been staying about the same.
Right. Well, the dual language in the middle school would be a big decision, correct? Because that would be, that would be a big impact.
So dual
On
language in
budget.
the middle school would require us to add, and
Right.
how that, like what that would look like.
Right,
And I think it'd be a communication with the board on, because there's multiple ways you can do that.
right,
We could be adding a Spanish teacher, or we would need to add multiple opportunities for students
right,
and not just offering Spanish
right.
as a standalone course.
And
but
that's what
also-
this group would share with you, which you would
Yes,
share with us. Okay, that makes sense.
I guess too.
Yeah.
I tried to participate, I couldn't very much, but there's like literally one or two people, you know, at each meeting, so I'd also wanna caveat, like it's not really a lot of community input, unfortunately, for this group, even though I think it's pretty important.
Right.
So, I don't know, I just feel like we need to qualify the recommendations a little bit, because we just didn't have the ability to get a wide
Sure.
feedback.
Now, we do survey annually the community.
Okay,
So the data they were looking at with the survey results
okay.
from the community, but I know we don't get a lot of participation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
In
true.
their survey results. So,
That's
you
what
know,
we're
so
getting
what is it
There's
that
a theme there,
there's a theme there, right? And so people are busy
yeah.
and they have a lot going on. So when we talk about like us, the board and myself being available where our families are and looking at next year, maybe that's a way that we can continue to gather information. So we survey families and we have that information. We provide these opportunities to be a part of
Right.
this group, and you're right, that group probably has been the least attended, like the number of people that have attended that group, and it was really mainly staff that were attending. We had a couple community members who were participating.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so the group that I led was the one focused on our long-range capital facilities planning. And our group has been studying the district's use of its properties. We looked at all of the school properties across the district as well as our non-instructional facilities. And then also looked at our capital facilities plan and the data that's in there. We were looking at some of the needs of the district across time. So knowing that we have this trend of declining enrollment, our group read through the demographic study and kind of came up with a set of questions about, what does it look like in 10 years? What does it look like in 15 or 20 years? And it's really been weighing different ways that the district use the property that it owns to both plan for future, further out in the future growth. And then to really identify a set of recommendations for the superintendent. Our group did some extra work. So we did a field trip that went to actually came to this site and looked at the Kerr property, which is the area between Schmidt Hall Fields and Kerr Park. We went to the old bus garage, which is on the street down by Highway Fuel, and then up to the Cape Horn Sky campus and looked at kind of the back half of that property. The group identified, actually gathered a bunch of information from the county assessor's office for each of those properties, and then looked at the condition of the building on the 995 East Street property. We came up with a set of questions. It's led to the district working with an appraiser to get an updated appraisal for pieces of these three sites. And then also to kind of pose a set of questions to our construction management team. So that's RNC management around what it would cost to refurbish the 995 East Street building or to replace that facility with something that's kind of on par in terms of the amount of storage that the district needs. So what we're working towards is kind of at a high level, an idea for each of these three properties that we're either keeping them because they're a long-term asset and we think the district has use for them in the future. We think the district should sell them because we don't think we need them now or in the future, or that we should explore some other use, which maybe is using them the way that we currently are leasing them. We've talked about public-private partnerships as maybe an opportunity to use some of these. The group, I think, is leaning strongly towards keeping most of the property. I think we're like where we kind of came at the end of our last meeting is that there's a sense that trading what we see as a forever asset for cash right now doesn't feel like the right thing to do, and that it even if we were able to replace something like the 995 East Street building, the cost of building something new that replaces the storage might exceed what we get from the facility, and so that's probably not a great idea for the district. And so that I think is going to make us lean into maybe some of these other options, which might be exploring leasing the land for like a 10, 15 or 20 years, with the idea that the district in some of these things, in some of these cases, doesn't need the land right now, but that we think we might eventually. Or we might want the kind of the capacity that the land is going to appreciate at to trade for some other piece of land in the future. So knowing that our current trajectory, and I think it's on one of our slides, is to being a smaller district for a period of time. I think that general sense, at least within our group, is that the district will eventually start growing again. I think all of us are firmly believe that Washougal is an amazing place and it's a great place to live, and that eventually we'll figure out, like we collectively, the community will figure out the housing kind of constraints that are really driving the decline in enrollment.
Yeah.
And then once that's figured out, then we will start growing, and having these long-term assets ready for that is a good idea. We are also mindful that it's a really good idea for the school district to have a piece of property to use as a future school site. That's really the reason that the Kerr property, which is the piece of property that we're sitting on, was purchased back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And giving that property up without securing another future school site leaves the district in a place where if we start experiencing really rapid growth, for whatever reason, that we don't have that future school site locked in, to be able to accommodate the growth that we all, I think collectively, we all think the community is going to start growing it. And we anticipate that we'll get answers back from the appraisers working on these that'll help inform kind of making a really data-informed decision, so that we're not, making a recommendation that doesn't pencil out at all. And then also to work with our construction management team on, kind of a plan for the old bus garage. One of the things that we've identified is that even if we want to keep the status quo or we keep the building and we continue using it as storage, the building needs significant work. And so there's no zero cost option for that. There, and I think we have significant concerns about it just turning into a money pit, where it might be more cost effective to knock it down and have somebody else build something and partner strategically or in some kind of creative way to meet our storage needs, and maybe get rid of some of our stuff. Last Saturday, so it's an opportunity to come down and some of the wonderful thing.
I have a big truck, we can just dump it in there.
It refills itself every
Are
year.
you gonna sell Audrey? The chef of words?
There'll be all sorts of weird stuff. So, and sorry, I don't want to get distracted. It's getting really late. So.
Can we go back real quick?
Yeah.
So if I'm hearing you, for the two properties on the right, the DO and the Cape CCMS, it's, hey, we think it's probably in our best interest to hold on to that for future growth because those are large parcels.
Right.
I would question whether we need both of them. I also would question kind of like what I hear from you is like, even if we weren't going to keep them both now is likely not the time to sell given the current state of things. Is that what I'm hearing about the bus barn to use? Like, we're going to get more data, but in all likelihood, like if the market was where it was 2-3 years ago, we'd probably sell it, but we just can't get that.
So the board can have an executive session to study the person who did the assessed value for the thing. We don't want to give too much information about in a public meeting about the value of property or what we think the value of the property is, because it might influence what people are willing to pay for it.
I guess I'm just
That's
asking
fair.
generally, we're making decisions based on current market? And we might change our mind in the future as that would. evolve
Yeah, so,
potentially.
I would say that when the, so, yeah,
But
you were part of it, so.
yeah, I mean, I said it on this whole group. I think with the group is doing a really good job of just dotting the i's and crossing the t's. It's like, you look at these three properties, like, what are they worth? And what's it costing us to have them right now? And I think that's what needs to be reviewed, is like, the best farm needs money. Like, check, like, anybody can drive down the street and take a look at it, like, that thing's still standing? So, but it is a very important storage facility, right? So I think the group has done a really good job of going like, okay, where else could we find storage? So they're going out even farther than, okay, you can just look at the three properties and go like, I don't know, pick one. But they're really doing a great job of kind of looking at that. And that's what Les is looking to, is like, we want to see all of the data and then make an informed decision.
Right. So the other thing would be that as the district kind of weighs the utilization of these properties, I think one of the conversations that we had was that taking a piece of property and turning it into a piece of cash that's sitting in the capital project fund, and it does accrue interest, but maybe not. We don't, like, I think our group's kind of consensus right now is that it's not going to appreciate in the investment accounts as quickly as it does as property.
Gotcha.
And there's some specific things with, like the urban growth boundary, the densification of Washougal, the property that's up here and its developability, where we think that market for that property is going to, I mean, I think we think it's going to pop, and then all of a sudden it's going to be like, holy crap, that's worth a lot of money, where if we sold it today, we wouldn't get that much.
Okay.
But when that pressure equation, and part of it's because of the cost of housing, and like we've gotten some eye-popping numbers for the cost of like a replacement storage facility. The demographer said that I think there are currently no large apartment complexes that are being permitted at all because the cost equation is wrong right now.
Gotcha.
So there's a weird thing that's happening right now that might resolve itself at some point in 3 or 5 years, and we don't think this is the year or the time to try to sell it. The other thing is that these could be part of the financing plan for a future school facility or a huge remodel project. That can be a thing that the district can sell a piece of property and then use the proceeds to go. So again, I think that these are going to appreciate faster as property than we would get from cash. And I think maybe Paul can chime in, but I think that's kind of where we're going to.
Makes sense.
I think the big, like you said, we want to know what they're worth and what the market is for them.
Yeah.
Should the district need money, then what's that conversation?
Right, and one of the things that we reminded the group was they can't use the proceeds from this to fund innovative
General
programs.
education, yeah.
Right, so
Yeah.
it's worth saying that just so it's part of our collective, this isn't oh, we sell this and then we get to keep 5 teachers.
Right.
It goes back into the capital project fund and it can only be used for a really narrow set of projects. So it doesn't help with things like class size or innovative programs that I think are all priorities that we know the community wants.
Yeah.
But this isn't the solution.
Right. Thank you to remind people of that. 'Cause I think that not everybody knows that. I didn't know that until I was on the school board, right? So I think that's a good thing to continue to remind
Yeah.
people.
You want to go ahead?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the last group is the school consolidation group. So just an overview of what we've looked at since we started. So we reviewed the demographic study, and we looked at our historical enrollment, how it currently is declining and how it's expected to continue to decline. And that is part of the reason that brought us to having a consolidation group in the first place, is us seeing that continued decline. We did a lot of comparing the prototypical funding model, which is the state revenue, how we're funded based on FTE, versus the school sizes and versus the actual costs to run a school, salaries, insurance, all of that. So then the next one, we reviewed the cost per FTE at each individual site. So how much that single site costs to run, because they're different at each site. And then we did tour our school sites. Currently, we've toured Goth and Hathaway, and this month we're touring CRG. So at our last meeting, we kind of brought to the table 4 options to get the team to make sure we were all on the same page of what are our options, and is there an option we can agree to eliminate, or are there options we want to focus on? So you can see we listed 4 options, and I crossed out option 4 because the whole group, was all agreed the option 4, the status quo, is not really a current option. As our enrollment keeps declining, it's not financially a good decision to just maintain operations. As you see, we're cutting each year, and by maintaining all of the buildings, it's going to increase the amount we have to cut. So then another option was that we discussed was closing 1 elementary school. One is consolidating the 2 middle schools, and another is doing both together, which the team talked about, like a tiered plan. So like the whole plan would be close an elementary school, consolidate if we were to do that option, but it wouldn't be all together. It would be tiered. One happens and then the other, but it's discussed together the whole time, so there's no surprises.
Right.
Anything to add to that?
Oh, I think that's good.
So then the next slide is just showing our enrollment trend and our projection. So as we talked about in the last board meeting, TK has been cut, so we're losing 40 slots. That's 2 classrooms. With that, we're estimating a 4% decline in enrollment. And when you're seeing decline, your state revenue is going down, and it will continue to go down. There's nothing's coming in to save the districts as their enrollment's going down. So this just kind of shows where our enrollment has been and where it's planned to go. And then the next slide is what we talked about again last board meeting, just our budget enrollment for next year. So you can see the decline that we're estimating a reduction of 106 students. We do conservatively budget. The hope is that in January, when we true up, we will see an increase.
Right.
But that increase is still going to be a decline from this year, as it has been the last several years. So then this last slide is a lot of numbers. This is something we went through in our last consolidation meeting. And so if we just focus, say, on the elementary school, so the state funds an elementary school based on so many students. So they're saying in elementary school is 400 students. That's how we're going to fund it. So a site, so a school that has less than 400 students isn't receiving their full funding that they could, because the state's not seeing it as a full elementary school.
Okay.
So if we take Gauze for an example, just because it's right next to the elementary school numbers, a 400 student elementary school is funded at 1.2 principals. Gauze, with that funding calculation, we only receive funding for 0.7 of a principal. Well, you're not going to have a 0.7 of a principal. You need a full time. So
Right.
the district and levy and other funding is making up that difference.
Right.
So we kind of go down, you can see the other positions. And then an example we shared with our group was classroom teachers. So for example, the state every year gives you an amount of teachers you're going to be funded for, but also a salary amount. So for this year, it was the 80,164. So for Gauze, for example, that equates to 934,000. But then you can see below it what we're actually spending for classroom teachers at each site, and what the difference is between the money that the district pays and what we're actually funded for. And you can see that as enrollment keeps going down, that number just gets bigger and bigger. And how consolidating can be helpful, because now you have a school that's 400 students, or it's over 400, and you're able to combine resources and offer more at one school, because you're not having specialists traveling between schools and losing time for them. You're getting more funded for the staff that's there.
Right.
And so when we have opportunities like we do right now, we posted for some positions for next year.
Right.
We've had a couple teachers who have have retired.
Yeah.
And one position, for example, the music position at Hathaway, which has been a 1.0 position, we've posted a 0.7 position, because that's the number of, that's really the FTE we need based on Hathaway's enrollment.
Right.
So that individual has been doing other duties with a 1.0 contract. So when we can, we make adjustments. We don't always know when we can make those adjustments. And so then we eliminate positions, which we've done for next year. So I really feel like at the last meeting, showing this data was helpful for the individuals that were there, and like for them to visualize these gaps that exist. And we had a number of staff members who are in buildings, and their positions were identified, and they could see this gap that's associated with their position. And so I think this was helpful to provide this. I think this helps present the story. Again, it's a lot of numbers, and those aren't all the positions that we have in the funding model. And what came up was, well, what if you have more funding and you have less of a position? And so this is really a model. And so the district takes these dollars, and then we apply these dollars based on what we've budgeted, what we feel like we can afford, and what is our need, these positions. So the idea of a small school is really hard to sustain. We appreciate small class sizes. Our community is asking for small class sizes. And so we really feel like that we're continuing to prioritize small class sizes, even with these discussions about consolidating or closing the school. That's still something that is possible, even though you think, well, how's that possible if you're eliminating like a building? That we can manage the number of students in a section.
Probably better because we're not dividing it four ways
Right.
and then
Yeah.
trying to make sections out of it.
And you can
Right,
adjust
so-
between grades better.
Exactly, yes, yeah.
And when, so this table that we showed earlier is rolled forward for next year to try to show what the class sizes are. One thing that's really worth paying attention to is that the fifth grade class is a bubble, which means that it's significantly larger
Next year's
than
fifth grade class.
the groups on either side. Right.
Yeah.
So when that fifth grade group goes out of our elementary schools and
Right.
goes into middle schools, we're going to need more teachers in the middle schools
Right.
for 2 years or 3 years.
Mhm.
And we will need quite a bit fewer teachers in the K-5 schools. And some of our schools are gonna start getting really, I mean, they're already really small. They're gonna be getting dramatically
Right.
small. They're gonna lose 15 or 20 students.
Right.
Which when you only have 200,
It's a big,
that's a big 1 year change.
for sure.
And I think that also starts to broadcast and like why we think this is the right time to really, working within that work group to come up with a recommendation for the school board, particularly for the K-5s, because when that fifth grade cohort goes away, like there's a logical timing for us to do something, whatever we're gonna do, that's probably the year to do.
Okay, thoughts you have? Greg?
Question, you mentioned that you showed that last slide, lots of numbers. To teachers and buildings, when.
There were, so in the group, there were individuals that are teachers in buildings.
Okay.
Yeah, we have not shared this slide with all of our staff,
Okay.
but when we publish it, it'll be available for those individuals.
And as one can imagine, there are very strong emotions around this plan, but I think when you're able to look at numbers like that, it shows you really don't have a choice unless we're okay with our kids being in classes of 40 and 50 because we can't afford enough teachers.
Yeah.
So it is that energy and that connection, commitment to a building which is in a neighborhood. And we've been working through that. And so the recommendation to the board and what this group is doing is this group is like eliminated that option about it's a status quo, fine.
Right.
The status quo is we're going to continue need to adjust to our enrollment. And we've been experiencing that every year for the last 3 to 4 years.
Yep.
So not necessarily what the move is or what, but the idea that we really feel like a consolidation is gonna be necessary.
Yeah.
And then what we're gonna talk about in a few minutes is there is a policy. There's a statute, there's a policy connected to the statute on if a district were to go through that process with a program, these are the steps that are required by statute.
So I just had a quick question on this slide. So just looking at the bottom numbers, like the differences, is that kind of weighted a little bit? Just looking at the middle schools like JMS and CCMS, like JMS is closer to the 432 numbers, but we're more in the red there. So is that, would you need to do like a percent to really weight it?
This is based on the actual teachers' costs, so there could be factors of who the teachers are at that building, how many staff that building has, because they are our true costs for each building for the teaching staff.
So if there's more teachers and so let's say you're paying a little bit of a premium.
And
there's
if
more
they're the
of them.
most experienced teachers, which there are several of the, like Dr.
Most of them.
Soya has a PhD, so she's way farther and she's also way far down in terms of, not to pick out one, she's retired now, so I guess that's okay.
So,
But,
Tenure.
yeah.
60 plus years of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it makes them more expensive on average.
Yeah.
Than some of the other teachers. But it might also reflect that we have more teachers per student.
Oh.
So that can bump up the number. So they're probably on average more expensive, or there are more of the teachers per student. The two middle schools are probably not that disproportionate in terms of the size of them, like relative to the number of students. So,
Okay, other thoughts?
Important groups, this is something about that, we started this. group.
Yeah, she just said she's glad that we formed this group, and I think this is a topic that, yeah, it's important for us now to be discussing it.
Yeah.
And that with this, we've included, probably there's been 30 plus people that have been participating, and they are all now more knowledgeable about what is our current reality.
Yeah.
And I think when we put on our website, we have individuals who hopefully will access it. Again, the communications we've been sending out, and as we send more information about this, and what we want is to people to understand what our current reality is. Districts are in similar situations.
Right.
Districts have consolidated programs. They've moved in that direction. They've stopped. So we have a lot of examples, not necessarily near us, but across the state of districts that are going through the same thing and
Right.
have already previously made these decisions.
I don't
But
have
there are
any-
more and more, I think, that are near us.
Yeah.
That are also having similar.
Having a similar,
conversations.
yes, I agree with that as well.
Probably the key takeaway that I keep trying to get us to settle on is then we can have fewer schools and still be a really great district that is serving kids. Then it can help support having more manageable class sizes because we're not dividing, 150 kids 4 ways and then trying to make sections out of them.
Yeah.
And people often have really strong feelings about things like blended classrooms, which they might really want them or not. But if we don't want them, this is a way to probably be able to better manage them. If we get too small, then you start doing what Mount Pleasant does, which is every grade is a blended.
Yeah.
grade, because you don't have enough kids to make cohorts.
Right.
And some of the complexities with having 3 subgroups is consolidation group will be talking about something and they'll want to talk about like, so what does that look like? And there were times where we've said, well, that's what we have a group that's working on that. Like they're looking at all of our properties. They're looking at our buildings. And like, could we lease a building out?
Yeah.
Would that be something that would bring in revenue if we did something like that? We've heard some wonderful ideas. I think that people are very creative with different sites and how we might be able to find,
Yeah.
additional, some revenue coming in for different sites. So I think the idea of also consolidating these groups is when we get to a point where everyone's talking really about the same thing.
Right.
And we're not saying, well, that's another group that's doing this. They're working on that. That makes it challenging, especially when someone wants to see how like their neighborhood schools are being impacted or their positions can be impacted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank
Thanks,
you.
guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And for all your work on the subgroups. I know that's extra time. Thank you.
All right, guys, we've got executive responsibility 13, instructional program. Any questions on this?
No.
Nobody?
Nope.
Okay. Next one. Do we need to, we're not voting on that. We're not doing on that. Okay, I was just like, wait a second.
Information.
I'm trying to go through too fast now. Okay. Executive responsibility 14, instructional materials selection.
No concerns.
Clear.
Cleared, move on. Okay. Policy 5400, which is personal leaves. This would be the first reading on this.
Yeah, so 5400 personnel leave, so an existing policy.
Right.
There's been a revision from
Yep.
WASDA. So that revision is the unpaid leaves.
Yeah.
So here's just a little bit of context is, so we receive communication when there's updates and when there's new policy.
Yep.
And so we don't always adopt those policies. But this particular topic, unpaid leaves, is something that we've been working through.
Yeah.
And so it's been something that's very relevant and timely. And so we're going to be with this potential decision. This helps us with a topic that we've been working with our employees on. So I feel very strongly and appreciate this update in this policy as we were referencing it recently.
Yeah.
Makes
Okay.
sense. Yeah, I like that update. Necessary for sure. Okay, any other questions on that? Okay, we are on to policy 6800, which is our safety operations and maintenance of school property.
Yeah, so some updates, some language, not significant, but we wanted to make sure to update this policy. As you see like in the first page, just asing or designee, striking out some language, the next page. So pretty minor updates, but we thought it was important to make those revisions.
Yep, that's an easy one as well. Okay, now we have our new policy.
Yep.
6883.
Yep, so new policy, and I just want to, before we get into this closure of facilities, the topic of properties, we have a policy right now, 6882, sale of real property. So when the board is looking to sell property that we have,
Right.
there's a policy that we currently have that we would exercise, and it's connected to a statute, and it tells the board, like, this is the process we must follow to align to statute.
Yeah.
So that's one that we currently have, and the boards previously have exercised. So this policy, closure of facilities, is a policy that if the board was to move in a direction of closing a program, it's the policy that's connected to the statute that says if a school board is looking to close a program, they must follow this process. And one of the what it pertains to, and specifically, is the community needs to be aware of this closure and should have an opportunity for 90 days to share their thoughts through hearings.
Okay.
So it isn't, adopting this doesn't mean that the board is doing this, but we are having these conversations about what are some possible solutions to, again, our current reality. And so I felt it was important at this time. I think it's relevant to our conversations. It's a policy that we currently do not have that I'm encouraging the board to consider.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I know the reason that we're discussing this, but is this the model policy?
It is.
The board of directors has the authority to close a school building when an unforeseen natural event or mechanical failure causes it to become unsafe. That's all it talks about.
Well, no, then it talks,
Yeah.
in sentences prior to the closure for a foreseen circumstances, you gotta follow all these steps.
Yeah.
Unforeseen.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's like they're giving you the exemption, you can skip all this if there's like an earthquake, but if not, you need
Then
to.
Need to
gotta
go
do
through all
that
of these.
check.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I
I
understood.
missed that. other foreseen
No
part.
worries.
It was
Working with lawyers all day, man.
unforeseen.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Must be 9 o'clock at night.
weird.
You mean it's 9 o'clock? Okay,
Okay,
Makes sense,
thank
yeah.
you for that question.
Thank you
okay,
for the question. 'Cause I
Is
put
that
up
it?
there too, because I missed the foreseen.
Okay,
I did
Yeah.
do the first time.
okay,
okay.
that's it.
All right, guys,
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I saw you get rid of it.
I'm like, it's not even hot. We're done.